evening everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 7th of February where we discuss the important news of the day. My name is Anuj and I will be taking today's session. In today's session, we will be covering 5 main news and 8 quick update and 1 place in news. In the first main news, we will be covering about the reproductive autonomy for women in India in general and in the globe overall. Then in the second main news, we will be covering about the India-US Interim Trade Agreement Framework. Then we will be covering about the illegal red hole mining, which has claimed more than 20 lives in Meghalaya. Then we will be covering about the Kavach system of the Indian Railway. And then we will be covering about the border management, as the technologically driven emerging border management challenges need adoption of advanced technological solution has been said by the Home Minister. Then we will be briefly covering the quick update and 1 place in news in between. For today, we will be covering Malaysia. So this is the brief about today's session. Let us deep dive into the today's session. First of all, about the reproductive autonomy for women in India. So whenever you see such types of news that become very important for your paper 1 as well as for your paper 4. In paper 1, it is related to issues related to women, and paper 4 where there is a debate about pro-life versus pro-choice. And what is this debate? That is the unborn child has right to life or the woman has the choice to abort. So this is the basic about this news. Let us understand this news in detail. First of all, what is the development? The development is that in a significant affirmation of a reproductive autonomy, the Supreme Court has permitted termination of 30-week pregnancy of a minor, going beyond the statutory limit under the Medical Termination Act of 1971. Okay, it was amended in the year 2021 as well. And what is that statutory limit? The statutory limit is of 24 weeks. And that is divided. So, up to 20 weeks, abortion can be done with the help or with the recommendation of 1 doctor. And from 20 to 24 weeks, there is a requirement of recommendation of 2 doctors. And after 24 weeks, there is permission of abortion only in special cases, and that is after the approval of a medical board appointed by the state. Okay, so this is about the development here. Okay, so you should know about the right to autonomy, especially the reproductive autonomy. What is the meaning? How the globe or how the framework in and around the world. Last year, if you are reading the newspaper last year, France became the one of the country to provide right to abortion as a constitutional right. Previously, the Supreme Court of the America removed the constitutional right of the right to abortion. So it was said at that time that in USA it is easy to get a gun and kill a person rather than a woman having a right to abortion. So that is the development and that is the debate in and around it. It is important for your mains examination specifically, but if you talked about this MTP Act, it was amended in 2021. It is also important for your prelims examination. Here, there is one more thing. In the case of Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India 2017, the Supreme Court placed women reproductive choices within the scope of right to personal liberty under Article 21. If you see UPSC question paper, prelims question paper, there are 2 questions based on this act. Questions were same, but their wording was different. They were asking about in which article right to privacy is there. It was asked twice in last 8 to 9 years. So that is the significance of this line. Now let us move further and understand about the reproductive right or reproductive autonomy. As the word suggests, reproductive autonomy is recognized as a right of woman to make choice regarding her own body, fertility and motherhood. In India specifically, it is often seen that women are not considered while making these decisions. Even in hospitals, although it is not required by the law, permission are often taken from the father. And in the case of minor or the adolescent girl, the permission is taken from the parents. So this is specifically observed in the hospital, although it is not there in the law, MTP Act of 1971. Then what are the issues and challenges to the reproductive autonomy? Let us discuss. First, lack of decision making powers. As we have discussed, often the permission is taken from the father or the parents. So in this, as per NFHS, National Family Health Survey 5, only 10% of women in India are able to independently make decision about their own health. And here the health is about the reproductive health and reproductive choices, that what type of contraceptive they will be using, or what type and at what age they will be giving birth to a child. Then there is patriarchal control and objectification of women. It is more than often seen that women are treated as a reproductive instrument, and if they are not able to reproduce, they are not considered fit in a marriage. It is often seen in the Indian society. Okay, let us discuss further what are the issues. So other issues are adolescent sexual health. Okay, so sex education is often stigmatized or banned in school. So in school in which I was there, only one class was taken for the sex education, and that was also very limited. So it is often the case in the Indian schools. Then inadequate healthcare infrastructure. So there is critical shortage of specialists and limited access to the contraceptions in the rural areas. And even in the urban areas, it is very difficult for women to take the contraceptions from the shopkeepers, because they stigmatized and they look in a very bad manner. So that is the issues regarding to the reproductive autonomy of the woman. Now let us discuss PYQ related to this news. So basically PYQ are from the mains examinations. First, from the 2019, empowering women is the key to control population growth. Discuss. Here there will be point of reproductive autonomy. Then only you can control the population growth, right? Then there is a question in the year 2020 also. The question is, in order to enhance the prospect of social development, sound and adequate healthcare policies are needed, particularly in the field of geriatric and the maternal health care. Here also there will be a point about reproductive autonomy. Okay. So this was all about the first news and the reproductive autonomy for women in India. Okay. Now let us discuss the second news. If you are reading newspaper, this news is all over the newspaper, and the context here is that the India-US Interim Trade Agreement framework has been signed. Most important word here is interim. It is not final. Okay, and we will be making that trade agreement framework final in the coming time. Okay, so this is the context, and it has been specifically, or the papers what are there in that, the framework has been put out by the government. It is related to paper 2, where syllabus talks about bilateral, regional and the global groupings and the agreement, as well as the paper 3, where syllabus talks about the economic development. Now let us discuss this news and all the debates in and around this news. First of all, the development. The agreement paved way for a comprehensive US-India bilateral trade agreement. If you are following the newspaper and the news, you might be noticing that India is signing various free trade agreements. It might be with EU, it might be with New Zealand, it might be with the other countries such as Oman and other countries. So you should be aware about the various agreement, because there can be a question in the prelims examination where UPSC can ask, like, in the following countries, with which countries India has signed free trade agreement. For now, India has signed an interim free trade agreement framework with the USA. What was the need? Okay, so India was facing a very high tariff of 50%. In this, there was a 25% reciprocal tax and 25% a penalty tax. So India, along with Brazil, was facing the largest consequence of the tariffs from the USA, as these countries were having the highest tariff from the US side. And why we had to make a trade agreement with the USA? First of all, USA is the largest economy in the world. Largest economy in the world. Second, USA is India's largest trade partner. And we are in the trade surplus with the USA. So for protecting our exporters, there was a need for stability in the relation of India and USA. After signing of this agreement as well, there will be competitive advantage. Why? Because now we have moved to the 18% of tariff, but whereas our competitive countries such as China, which is facing a tariff of 30 to 35%, other countries such as Vietnam and Bangladesh are also facing an higher tariff from the USA side. So it is a win situation for Indian exporters, as we will be having a competitive advantage, and in the future we will be having the full bilateral trade agreement. Now let us understand what are there in this interim trade agreement and what are the key details. First of all, tariff rationalization. So it is given that India will reduce the tariff on all the US industrial and agriculture goods, which include tree and nuts and wines. It will also reduce, India will also reduce or eliminate tariff on US food and agriculture products such as dried distilleries, grains, red sorghum for animal feeds, tree nuts, fresh and processed food, soybean oil, wine and spirits. Okay, we have safeguard our dairy, but these products are under the tariff rationalization. Then there is talk about reciprocal tax. We have discussed that before there was 25% reciprocal tax and 25% penalty tax. Now it will reduce to 18%. Okay, so US will apply a reciprocal tariff rate of 18% on selected Indian goods, with provisions to remove tariff on identified product line after a successful conclusion of the interim pact. So in the future, the tariff will reduce or might reduce to 0%, but for now it is 18%. Then tariff removal quotas announced for the aircraft parts, select metal linked products, auto part and generic pharmaceuticals, and it is subjected to security investigations and the findings. Of course, pharmaceuticals is an important for the healthcare. That's why there is requirement of the investigation as well as the finding. Are that pharma or generic pharmaceutical is effective? Such types of finding will be there in that. Then there is talk about 500 million US dollar procurement by India, and this will be for the 5 years, over the time periods of 5 years, and it will include the US energy, aircraft and the defense products. Then the non-tariff barriers, they will be reduced and will be harmonized. Then there is also talked about the technology, as there will be the extended cooperation in the graphic processing unit as well as the data center infrastructure. So in the paper put out, there is no talk about the Russian oil or the ban on the Russian oil. But if you see today's Hindu newspaper, the first headline is about reduction of the oil import from the Russia. Now it has come down to 25% of the total oil trade or the oil import of the India. That is given in the Hindu newspaper on the first line or the first heading of the Hindu newspaper of today. Okay. Now let us discuss about the significance. We have already discussed about the competitive advantage, how our exporters will be benefited. Now let us discuss the other two benefits. First, about the supply chain resilience and about the pharma access. So what is the meaning of first line? That there will be the enhanced economic security alignment and innovation through the complementary actions, India and the USA. Then we will have a better access for the pharmaceutical in the market of USA. These are the two significance, specific significance. We have already discussed about the other significance such as competitive advantage, promotion of export to the USA, as USA is the largest economy as well as the largest trading partner of India. Now let us discuss one PYQ from the mains examination, that is not from this news, but similar type of question can be asked in the mains examination. The question is, what introduced friction into the ties between India and the United States is that the Washington is still unable to find for India a position in its global strategy which would satisfy India's national self-esteem and ambition. Explain with the suitable examples. If you see the recent UPSC mains question paper, UPSC is specifically asking about the examples with the suitable examples. So you can substantiate your answers with various examples, and you can note down the examples from the newspaper as well as from the various source of the current affairs, so that your answer become very specific and different from the others. Okay, with this we have completed this news. Now let us discuss about the next news. The next news is about the illegal rat hole mining, which has claimed over 20 lives in Meghalaya. In this news, we will be covering about what is the rat hole mining and what are the various aspects under it. It is related to paper 3, where syllabus talks about various aspects of economy, that might be about infrastructure or the employment. Now let us discuss this news in detail and discuss what is the rat hole mining. Before understanding about rat hole mining, please be very clear about various basic facts related to coal which can be asked in the UPSC prelims examination. And why I am specifically saying that question related to coal can be asked in the prelims examination. First of all, before 4 days, coking coal has been included as a critical mineral by the government of India. It is important. Then India has the 5th largest coal reserve, and India is the 2nd largest producer of the coal. And more basically we import also the coal. The largest coal reserve in India are with the state of Jharkhand, and the largest producer of the coal in the world is China, whereas the largest coal reserves are with the USA. Such types of facts should be very clear so that if they appear in the prelims examination, you can point out to the correct answers without thinking much. Okay, now let us discuss about the red hole mining. So red hole mining is a primitive and unscientific form of mining. Okay, and in this process, land is first cleared by cutting and removing the ground vegetation and then digging pits into the ground and reach the coal seam. Let us understand in basic simple language. Okay, suppose this is the block. So then they will dig it in the vertical direction and they will find out about the coal seam. And then they will dig into the horizontal direction where there will be coal seams. And basically, as these holes are very small, mostly child labor is used in the red hole mining. Okay, and what is a coal seam? Coal seams are reached by excavating the hill slope, and then coal is extracted through a horizontal tunnel that we have discussed. First the vertical tunnel is made up, then the horizontal tunnels are made out wherever there is a coal seam. Okay, so this was about the red hole mining. Now let us discuss about the reasons for illegal mining continuation, especially in the northeastern region and specifically in the region of Meghalaya and Assam. Okay, first is the natural factors. So coal seam in Meghalayas are very thin. So it is not possible to have a large scale manufacturing industry there and the open casting of the coal. Okay, secondly, there are lack of alternative. Okay, as without viable economic substitute in the sectors like horticulture, construction and manufacturing. Okay, the child laborers here are paid often more than thrice what is the payment compared to the payment in the other sectors such as manufacturing and construction to a employed person. Okay, minors cannot be employed in India. Okay, then there is complex ownership structure. Okay, because the specific ecosystem in Meghalaya involve small privately or community owned land holding. And what is the issue? When the coal was nationalized in India in 1973, it was not applicable in the 6th schedule state. And what are the 6th schedule state? AT-MT. Okay, Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya, and this is also M. This is Mizoram. So AT-MM, that is Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. These are the 6th schedule state. So that have led to a situation where there is a complex ownership structure. We will be discussing one PYQ related to this news and you can understand how and from where UPSC is asking the question in the prelims examination. Now let us discuss further about this news. What are the measures taken to stop illegal red hole mining? First of all, Meghalaya has a framework to prevent illegal mining, transport and the storage under the Mines and Mineral Development and the Regulation Act of 1957. And also, the National Green Tribunals has banned the red hole mining in the Meghalaya and it was upheld by the Supreme Court as well. Okay, and if you are preparing for UPSC prelims examination specifically as the notification has came out, you should be knowing about what is National Green Tribunals. And if you don't know about them, please have a visit and learn about the National Green Tribunals. Now let us discuss the PYQ related to this news. First, the PYQ is from the prelims examination of 2019. The question is, consider the following statement. Coal sector was nationalized by the government of India under Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi was the prime minister at that time when the coal sector was nationalized. Okay, that is the first statement. Second statement, now coal blocks are allocated on lottery basis. Do you think that the coal block will be allocated on the lottery basis in India? That is a wrong statement. Then, till recently, India imported coal to meet the shortage of domestic supply, but now India is self-sufficient in the coal production. Although we are the second largest producer of the coal and has the fifth largest reserve, but we import coal, especially the coking coal. Okay, that was recently announced as the critical mineral. Okay. So the first statement is correct, as the coal sector was nationalized in and around 1973, and at that time the Prime Minister was Indira Gandhi. Okay, so the first statement would be correct. Now let us look at the mains PYQ. It is from the year 2017. In spite of adverse environmental impact, coal mining is still inevitable for the development. Discuss. Okay, so this is about the coal sector and its usage and why it cannot be stopped in India. Okay, so with this we have completed this news. Now let us discuss the next news. The next news is about the Kavach system, and it is strengthening the railway safety in India. It is related to paper 3, where paper syllabus talks about the infrastructure, energy, ports, road, airport and railways. Okay, let us discuss this news. First of all, what is the background? So it has been given, the information is given about the Kavach and about the accident in the railways. So basically, Kavach system has been implemented on more than 2,200 road kilometer. What is the total length of Indian railways? It is around 70,000 kilometers. And at what position India stand when it comes to the Indian railways? Okay, it is at the 4th. First is USA, then it is China, then Russia, and then it is India. Okay, so first train was started from Mumbai to Thane, but first passenger train was started from Howrah to Hooghly. Okay, please be very clear about these facts for your prelims examination. When it comes to the position at the length of the routes of the Indian railway or the railway, India stands at the 4th position. After USA, China, Russia, India is at the 4th position. And the first train started from Bombay or Mumbai to Thane in the year 1853. But first passenger train started from Howrah to Hooghly in the year 1854. Okay, please be very clear about these facts to be very clear in the prelims examination. Okay, so the information given in this news is that it has been implemented in the 2,200 kilometers of the route, and it has helped reduce train accidents sharply from 135 in the year 2014-15 to 31 in the year 2024-25, and in this year up to November, the data which is given by the Indian Railways is that only 11 accident has taken in this year till November. Okay, so this was the development. Now let us discuss about the Kavach. First of all, that it is an indigenously developed automated train protection system that provide train protection and the collision prevention capabilities for the train. Okay, you might be hearing about ADAS as well, that is for the core and the other vehicles, but here this is for Indian Railways, and it is developed by Research Design and Standard Organization of Indian Railways, and they are continuously improving the Kavach. Now in the Vande Bharat 4.0, it is envisaged to incorporate the Kavach 5.0. Till now, we are incorporating the Kavach version of 4.0, which was approved in the year 2024. Now let us understand the details of it and how does it work. Okay. First of all, it has capacity and ability for detection and prevention of signal passing at a danger. Suppose there is a signal here and train is passing from here. So it will apply the brakes automatically. First it will send the signal to the driver or the locomotive pilot, then it will apply the train's brake automatically. Secondly, there are cab signaling with the display of movement authority, target distance, speed and the signal aspects as well. Then it will prevent all type of train collision that can be from the front, that can be from the back, or that can be from the sides as well. Okay, then there are automatic horn activation when approaching the level crossing gates. So there will be automatic horn. Okay, and there are emergency stop on site message in critical situation. Okay, that situation message, situational awareness message will be sent to the drivers. Then what is the working principle? Okay, so here there will be the RFID type tags. RFID means the radio frequency identification tags. Okay, and they have their benefit, and you should know how RFID are different from the barcodes. Basically, if you are moving with the cars as well, if you notice at the FASTag, there are also the RFID tags. So there is no need for in the same line. Whereas for the barcode, if you go to the shopkeepers, that they will be searching for the barcodes to come into a specific location. So that is an advantage with the RFID. So they are applied at the tracks and as well as the signals. So there are GPS and GSM antennas from which the train drivers will be getting the information about the various aspects. Previously, there was the signals on the sides of the track, but in the various difficult situation or by the human error, there was chances of the accident. But now with the use of technology, we are reducing the accident. There are other technology used in the railway and the AI railway system. Okay, you might be learned or you might have heard about the Gajraj system. That was the AI system to stop the accidents of the elephant with the trains. Okay, now let us discuss about the AI enabled intrusion detection system, which is based on distributing acoustic sensing and to detect the presence of wild animal on the railway tracks. So basically in this distributed acoustic sensing, they send the signals and depend on the reflection of it. If there is animal, there will be disturbances in that signal. Okay, and there are AI driven predictive maintenance and inspection video surveillance system. So there will be the surveillance by the AI as well as the videos will be inspected, so that if there is any issue with the tracks, train can be stopped. Then there is GPS based fog safety system. As you might be aware, especially in the northern part of India, there is an issue of fog, and in fog drivers cannot able to see the signals on the sides of the track. That's why there is an GPS based fog safety system. Okay, now let us discuss PYQ related to this news. The question is from 2015. It is not directly based on this information, but whenever there is a usage of technology in Indian Railways, okay, there can be questions. Now let us discuss about this question with reference to the bio toilets. Okay, that was there in the news at that time. Okay, there was introduction of bio toilets in the Indian Railways. So it is with reference to the bio toilets used by the Indian Railways. Consider the following statement. First, the decomposition of human waste in the bio toilet is initiated by the fungal inoculum, that is initiated by bacteria. So first statement is incorrect. Then ammonia and water vapor are the only end products in this decomposition which are released into the atmosphere. This is also an incorrect statement because there is also the release of methane and the water, not water vapor. Then the answer will be D, neither one nor two. Okay, so with this we have completed this news. Now let us discuss the last main news for today, and it is related to paper 3 where syllabus talks about security challenges and their management in the border areas. What is the context? The context is that the Home Minister has said that technology-driven emerging border management challenges need an adoption of advanced technological solution. As the technology is advancing, the threat and the issues at the border areas are increasing, and to solve those threats, there is requirement of the technology-enabled solutions. Let us discuss this news in detail. First of all, the development. So the Home Minister has highlighted that the modernization of defense forces, and he asserted that advanced tech is essential to achieve the goal of zero infiltration. Okay, you might be aware that our borders are populated with the other countries as well, and there are chances of infiltration. So you might be noticing that we have borders with Pakistan, we have borders with China, Afghanistan, Bhutan, Nepal, Myanmar, and we have the coastal borders as well. So it is very important for a country like India. Why? Because there is an instability in especially around the India, in countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, and sometimes in Myanmar as well. Okay, so it is very important to protect our borders areas from infiltration. Now let us discuss about the emerging challenges to the border management. First of all, the use of technology, and there is asymmetric threats such as surge in the drone incursion dropping narcotics and the weapons, and that is especially at the western borders, and because the drugs and the other types of materials are carried by the drones and dropped in the Indian country or the Indian regions. Okay, then there is an issue and the increasing issue of cyber and the electronic welfares, because there are attacks on the border surveillance infrastructure as well as on the communication network. If you have seen in the India-Ukraine war, in the Russia-Ukraine war, there is the usage of cyber and the electronic warfare. Then the issue of terrain, because we have to manage the unfenced gap in the difficult terrains like the shifting eastern riverine borders and the marshes of Gujarat. So it is very difficult when the situation on the ground is difficult related to geography, such as there is shifting borders or the shifting eastern riverine borders, and there are marshes of Gujarat which become very difficult for the forces to continuously monitor the border in this region. Now let us discuss about the role of technology in the border management. So there is an requirement, and in government is putting the smart fencing, and in this there is comprehensive integrated border management system which was started by Government of India in the year 2016 to plug the gap where physical fences are not feasible, and it has been started at the or had been put at the border of India and Bangladesh. Then there is anti-drone systems as well, because there is need for integration of jamming and detection tech to counter the aerial threat. If you have read the newspaper at the time of the Operation Sindoor, there was usage of anti-drone systems. Then there is usage of communication and data system which is required for secure satellite and digital communication network, which will provide real time data about the ground situation. Then there is a vibrant village program, and for what this program is there, it is there to enhance the digital and the physical connectivity in the borders village. Okay, now let us discuss about the border management in India. So India has a 15,100 kilometer land borders with the various countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, Afghanistan, China and Bhutan. And we have coastline of 11,098 kilometers. Till recent time we used to consider it as 7,500 kilometers, but recently the government has recalculated and has improved or increased our coastline by around 4,000 kilometers, and it is now 11,098 kilometers. Then the Department of Border Management, which is under Ministry of Home Affairs, operate on the one border, one force principle. And what is this one border, one force principle? That means with every country there should be a single force that become very effective in the border management. So with Pakistan and Bangladesh we have border security force. With China and with Bhutan we have ITBP. Then with Nepal we have SSB. With Myanmar we have Assam Rifles. Okay, so this is the principle. Now let us discuss the PYQ. One is from the year 2025 itself. It is from the prelims examination. And what is the question? Question is that with reference to the unmanned aerial vehicles, consider the following statement. Last year UAV was there in news many times. Okay, because of the Russia-Ukraine war, Operation Sindoor and other activities. So the question was, the all type of UAVs can do vertical landing. All type of UAVs can do automated hovering. Then all type of UAVs can use battery only as a source of power supply. So all the three statements carry the extreme word. Wherever there are extreme words, you should read that statement twice. And in the third statement, there are two extreme words, all as well as the only. So basically, all type of UAVs can do vertical landing. That is not possible. Some of them do horizontal as well. Then all type of UAVs can do automatic hovering. So hovering is hovering around in and around a place. Some of the UAVs cannot do that automated hovering. Then all type of UAVs can use the battery only. Okay, so there are talks about the nuclear fuel in the UAVs as well about the fossil fuels can be used in some of the UAVs. Okay, so all the three statements are incorrect. Then the answer will be D, none. Okay, then there is one mains PYQ as well, and the question is, the use of unmanned aerial vehicles by our adversaries across the borders to ferry arms, ammunition, drugs, etc. is a serious threat to the internal security. Comment on the measures being taken to tackle this threat. Okay, we have discussed about this information in this news. You can talk about the Vibrant Village program. You can talk about the CIBMS. Okay, and the other initiatives such as One Border, One Force. Okay, so such types of initiative of the government can be written, and it was there in the year 2023. So with this, we have completed the main news for today. Now let us discuss the place in news for today. Okay, so place in news for today is Malaysia, and the context is that the Honorable Indian Prime Minister is on a 2-day visit to Malaysia. In place in news, we cover the various features physical and the geographical feature of a country. So here it is an Southeast Asian country separated by South China Sea. So here this is South China Sea, and here it is Malaysia, and here also it is Malaysia. So there is West Malaysia and East Malaysia, and the capital is here, Kuala Lumpur. Okay, in one of the previous year of the UPSC, they have asked about the north to south order of the various South Asian countries, capital of the South Asian countries. Okay, so there was given about the Kuala Lumpur, Singapore and the other capital. Okay, and the bordering countries are Thailand, Brunei and Indonesia, and it is linked to Singapore via bridge. Okay, so Singapore is not a bordering country, but it is connected by a bridge, and there are maritime border as well. One is Strait of Malacca. Where it is? It is here. Okay, whenever you are doing such type of an information, please look into the map. Second, the South China Sea, it is here. Then Sulu Sea, it is here, and then Celeb Sea, it is here. Okay, South China Sea, Strait of Malacca, Sulu Sea and Celeb Sea. And about the climate, it have a tropical climate, and it is one of the world 17 mega diverse countries, and it has the second largest palm oil producer and exporter, and the first country to produce, or the largest producer of the palm oil, is Indonesia, which is also present in this map. Here it is Indonesia. Okay, so with this we have completed the main news and place news for today. So the first quick update is about Agni 3. Okay, so the context here is that India has successfully test fires Agni 3 intermediate range ballistic missile from integrated test range Chandipur in the Odisha. Okay, so this missile is already there with the force from the year 2011. So they have tested. Now let us understand about the Agni 3. It was developed by Defense Research and the Development Organization, which is DRDO, and what are its specification? It is a two-stage solid fuel ballistic missile. What is a ballistic missile? Who has a path of like this. Okay, and it has range more than 3000 kilometers. That's why it is an intermediate range missile, and it is capable of carrying both conventional warheads as well as the nuclear warhead. Okay, now let us move to the second quick update. The second quick update is about the Chabhar port. And what is the context? The context is that Iran has reaffirmed its commitment to the Chabhar port and cooperation with India despite the US sanctions uncertainty. Okay, let us have a look over the Chabhar port over the map. So it is there in Gulf of Oman, and it is very near to the Gwadar port, which is developed by China in Pakistan. Okay, and it is located at the Sistan, Balochistan provinces in the Iran's southern coast. So you can see here in the map. And what is its genesis? Its genesis is that the India Port Global Limited started operating the port in the year 2018, and it is very significant for India because it connects India to Afghanistan by this. Then it also connects India to the Central Asia and the international north-south transport corridor, which bypasses the Pakistan. Okay, and as you might have read in the today's Hindu newspaper, India has fulfilled its commitment to contribute around 120 million US dollars for the procurement of the port equipments. So this was about the Chabhar port. Chabhar port is continuously in the news due to the US actions. Okay, now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about the Prakash Singh judgment. It is very important to quote this judgment in your mains examination. And what is the context? The context is that the Supreme Court has observed that the states were opting for the acting and avoiding the appointment of the regular DGPs with a fixed tenure of 2 years, which is the violation of the Prakash Singh judgment. In Prakash Singh judgment, there is requirement of the fixed term for the DGPs for 2 years, but various states are appointing acting DGP so that they can avoid these guidelines of the Supreme Court. Okay, so what all there in this Prakash Singh judgment? Okay, it is a case of year 2006. So first, there is about the selection and tenure of the DGP. We have already discussed the tenure should be of 2 years. Okay, and the DGP must be chosen from a UPSC panel of the senior officers by a UPSC panel. Then there should be State Security Commission, and every state should establish so that there is less political interference. Then there is a requirement of separation of the investigation body from the investigation week from the law and order duties, so that there can be the more focus on the investigation. Then there should be the establishment of the police establishment board, and each state should set up it, which will be headed by DGP, to decide the transfer of posting and promotion up to the DSP level. Here, this same reason, there should be less political interference. Then there should be a police complaint authority to look after at the complaints regarding to the officers. Then there should be a National Security Commission to appoint the head of the Central Police Organization. And what are the Central Police Organization? Organizations such as BSF, CRPF, SSB and the other organization. Okay, now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about an important model of infrastructure, that is build on transfer model. In this news, we will be covering this. And what is the context? The context is that the government enhances highway construction through public-private partnership in year 2026-27, which prioritize the build on transfer model. What is there in this? So basically, it is a PPP model, that is public-private partnership, in which a private entity finances, design, build and operate a project for a fixed period before transferring it to the government. Okay, so it is clear from the heading as well, such as, so it will finance, it will design, build and operate a project particularly for a specific period of time, and then it will transfer it to the government. And what is the revenue and the user charges? So the private partner is allowed to collect the user fees, that is oftenly known as tolls, during the concession period to recover the investment as well as earn the profit. Okay, whenever the private bodies are going for the investment, they look for the profits. So that can be earned through the private partners to collect the user fees. Okay, and what is the risk allocation? The risk allocation to the private sector is significant, which include the volume as well as the financial risk as well as the potentially price risk. Okay, so this was about the build on transfer model of PPP. Now let us discuss the next quick update. The next quick update is about the new bio-barriers marine worm species which has been found near West Bengal. So you might have seen that there are various questions in the prelims examination where UPSC asks about various species. Okay, so the context is that the researchers from the Geological Survey of India have uncovered two remarkable new bio-barriers marine worms species from the coast of West Bengal. What are bio-barriers? Okay, please read about bio-barriers. These are the species which can survive where other species cannot survive. So the two species are Nemelacastic solentograntha. It is named after the channeled jaw structure, and it is found in the sulfur-rich, foul-smelling mudflat and the decaying mangrove woods. Then the other species is Nerais dirite, and it is named after the first woman director of GSI, Dhriti Banerjee, and it is found inside the wooden dog piles on the sandy beaches. So these bio-barriers are found in West Bengal. Please be very aware about the name of these species. What is bio-barrier species and the first woman director of the GSI. Okay, ZSI, sorry. So this is the important information regarding the prelims examination in this news. Now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about e-Sankhyaki portal. And what is the context? Context is that the National Statistics Office under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has launched the beta version of Model Context Protocol server for this portal. Okay, so beta version has been launched. It is not perfect till now, but they are testing it. And what for this portal is there? It is a centralized digital platform launched by which ministry? Ministry of Statistics and the Program Implementation. And what does it provide? It provides the seamless access to the India's official statistics. And what all statistics is included? Such as Consumer Price Index, Index for Industrial Production, Periodic Labor Force Survey, and other indices produced by the MOSPI ministry. Okay, so this was about this portal. Now let us look into the next news. The next news is about the PFC and REC merger. So there was talk about their merger in the recent budget. So now the Board of Finance Corporation and the Rural Electrification Corporation Limited have given an in principle approval for the merger. In this, we will be looking at about PFC as well as the REC. For PFC, it was incorporated in the year 1986 and it is a Maharatna Central Public Sector Enterprises, and it is the leading non-banking financial corporation in the country. Because this is enough for this. Then about the REC, which is stand for Rural Electrification Corporation Limited. It was incorporated in the year 1969 in the backdrop of severe drought and famine to energize the agriculture pump set for irrigation purposes. Okay, you might be aware that more than 50% of Indian agriculture is rain fed. Okay, to tackle such situation, there was the genesis of REC, and it is also a Maharatna company and it is registered as NBFC with the RBI, and it is the National Project Implementation Agency for the PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Okay, so I think last year or last to last year, there was a direct question on PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, but there was no context or there was nothing about this body because they have not asked about this. But it is the National Project Implementation Agency for PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Okay, now let us move to the next quick update. The next quick update is about Malt book. Okay, it is very interesting and it is the last also in news for today, and the context is that a recent report highlighted security concern related to Malt book. And what it is? So basically it is a social forum exclusive for autonomous AI agents similar to the online forum like Reddit. But on Reddit there is conversation between humans, but in Malt book there will be conversations in autonomous AI agents, and humans can only observe while AI agents will post, debate and upvote. So basically many agents on Malt book were created using the open source AI agent which is known as OpenClaw, and it is launched in January 2026. And what is the purpose of it? The purpose is that the developer potentially deploy agents to test the autonomy, coordination and the machine social behavior of the AI. And the example is creation of a mock religion. Okay, so with this we have completed the news today discussion for today. To read further about the current affairs initiative of the Vision IAS, you can visit the Digital Current Affairs website and please solve the question visible on your screen. Thank you and all the best for your preparation.